You think an election's over once the votes are counted, right?
Yeah.
But things took a really interesting turn with the mayoral race in Banjarbaru recently.
Yeah, definitely not the usual outcome. It actually ended up in the Constitutional Court.
Exactly. And the MK, the Constitutional Court, they ordered a complete revote, a PSU, they call it.
Which is pretty rare for the MK to step in and say, do it over. Something fundamentally wasn't right.
Totally. So we decided to dive into the MK's ruling, see what the sources say, and really unpack why this happened.
Figure out what was so unusual and what it means for Banjarbaru voters, right?
Right. Our mission today is basically to understand why that first vote got tossed out on constitutional grounds and, well, what this new election will look like.
Okay.
So the absolute core of it seems to be this. One candidate pair, Aditya Mufti Arifin and Said Abdullah.
Candidate number 2, yeah.
Yes, number 2. They were disqualified, but only after the ballots had already been printed with their names, their photos, everything.
And crucially, their picture and names stayed on the ballot papers people actually used to vote.
Even though they were out. And KPU regulations, the Election Commission rules, say any votes for them are just invalid.
Which you can see immediately creates a, confusing situation for voters, to say the least. They see 2 options, but only one is technically valid.
Exactly. And that's what the MK really hammered home, this lack of a real choice. They pointed to parts of the Constitution.
Hasil 1, Hasil 6A, 18. Those guaranteeing, sovereignty of the people, democratic local elections.
Yeah, all the foundational stuff. The court basically said, look, this wasn't a democratic election as the Constitution demands because the choice wasn't genuine.
It goes beyond just a technical error, then. It's about the principle of free and fair elections, isn't it?
It really is. Does your vote actually count? Does it mean something?
And the MK brought up another key point, this idea of the empty ballot column. Column Kosong.
Ah, right. What's that about?
Well, apparently the election law itself, the UU Pilkada, says if you end up with just one candidate pair left.
Which is what happened here after the disqualification.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Then the ballot must include an option to vote against them, an empty column. No picture, just a space to say no to the remaining candidate.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It preserves that one person, one vote, one value idea, even with only one name on the ticket.
It gives voters a meaningful way to express dissent or simply not endorse the single option available. It ensures the election is still a choice.
So the MK wasn't happy that the local KPU didn't do this?
Not at all. They were quite critical. The KPU had, 29 days between the disqualification and polling day?
Almost a full month?
Yeah. Enough time, the MK argued, to either reprint the ballots with the empty column or postpone the vote slightly to make it happen.
But the KPU argued about sticking to the schedule, the national election timeline.
They did. They mentioned the synchronization of the 2024 elections. But the MK firmly stated that upholding constitutional rights, the voters' right to a real choice, takes priority over sticking to a timeline.
Wow, okay, that's a strong statement. So what did the court order specifically?
They annulled the original result entirely, wiped the slate clean. KPU Banjarbaru Decree 191 is gone.
And ordered the revote, the PSU.
Yes, a full revote. In every single polling station using the exact same voter list from the November 27th election.
And the ballot this time.
This time, it must have 2 columns. One for the remaining pair, Ernalisa Halaby and Wartono.
Okay.
And one column that's completely empty. No picture, nothing. Just the column Kosong.
Implementing that rule we just talked about.
Exactly. And they set a strict deadline.
How long?
60 days from the decision date, which was February 24th, 2025. So pretty soon. And the result of this vote will be final. No more appeals to the MK needed.
And they've put everyone on notice to watch over it.
Oh, yeah. The Nashville KPU, the provincial KPU, the city KPU, plus Bawazlu, the supervisory body at all those levels, and the National Police for Security.
They're taking this very seriously, making sure it's done right this time.
It underscores how important the MK views this breach of constitutional voting rights.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the big takeaway seems clear. The original Banjarbaru election, unconstitutional. Why? Because disqualifying a candidate but leaving them on the ballot denied voters a real, meaningful choice.
And the Constitutional Court has now made it crystal clear in single candidate races that empty ballot column isn't just like a nice idea. It's a constitutional must to keep things democratic.
It really makes you think, though. What does this ruling mean for future elections if candidates get disqualified late in the game?
That's the lingering question, isn't it? How does this precedent play out elsewhere? And maybe more fundamentally, it really highlights just how vital it is that every vote cast represents a genuine, informed choice. Makes you value that process even more.